is up, y'all? It's me, Tasha C, and welcome to the Tasha C Show podcast. Shout out to my podcast and YouTube fam. Hugs and love, support, protection, the speedy recovery if need vibes. Oh, excuse me, y'all. And my YouTube channel you're looking for is Tasha C TV. Okay, it's gonna be one of those short intros. Usually, most of the time, I'm yawning anyway. But to let y'all know, also shout out, hugs, and loves to the people who support me in the future. I appreciate all support and appreciate all the support I receive in the future for listening, whether it's this podcast or my YouTube channel. Now, it's 5:22 a.m. in the morning. My sleeping pattern got off again last day. I know this is random, but yeah, there might be some extra yawning in here because, y'all, I was originally going to do this a little later on. Like I said, it's 5:22, April the 8th, 2020, Wednesday, and yeah, it's Wednesday. Heck, even the days is cut off. But y'all, I end up staying up. I seen on Instagram DJ D Nice had after I was quarantined, and he went from I got I'll be on here extra 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes, I think I was there at least probably 3 hours. I don't know. Time fly. He finally just got off at 5 o'clock, y'all. Finally. I think he finally off because he's like, wait, just 15 more minutes, and he was jamming as usual. So I couldn't resist being in the room enjoying Club Quarantine. So yeah, I figured, I'm probably gonna go to sleep. Even though I'm yawning, I'm probably gonna go to sleep afterwards. So I'm like, let me just do one or two of my usual articles. This is not gonna be a long podcast. Again, this is another episode of Kings and Queens Next Door. Now, this either will be Volume 68 or 69, I think. I'll put the correct title in the description, what I talk about. In the thing, I'm trying that as well, where whatever, like the main things I talk about, it will be discussed in the description. It will be put in the description. I'm saying discussed it. So, I mean, I said discuss. Like I told you, y'all, I'm not editing this out at all. And you know how when I, be pronouncing things. So, let's get here. Okay. Now, I don't know if y'all hear. Y'all probably can't hear it. The birds are starting to chirp. They having their little, conversations outside. Okay. Now, this is from the National Museum of African American History and again, I went to their blog where they have different history stories. So here's hats off to Mae Reeves. It's plain to see why familiar modern Mae Reeves called herself creation showstoppers, whether they were covering vibrant flowers or dormant delicate beading or basil with a brooch. The hats created in Reeves' shop were nothing short of wearable art. But Reeves was not solely a trendsetter in fashion. She was a business pioneer whose lasting legacy was to empower and enfranchise African American men and women across her beloved Philadelphia. Born Louisa May Grant in Georgia, Reeves relocated to Philadelphia as part of what historians have become to call the Great Migration, a movement of African Americans out of the Jim Crow South into the urban centers of the North. So I wonder would that be considered like my dad. Okay, I'm getting off track here. Their opportunity and equality were more abundant, yet far from guaranteed. Because she was a widowed mother, Reeves' move was not without significant sacrifice. As was common at the time, her son stayed behind with his parental grandmother until Reeves could establish economic security in a new home. She set an example for African American women seeking economic independence and prosperity at a time when few had either. But Reeves would find that more than just security, she would craft a career and forge her identity. After working in Philadelphia's apparel industry, Reeves acquired a $500 loan from a black-owned Citizens and Southern Bank in her own name to open Mae's Monterey shop. With her shop located along the framed South Street, Reeves became one of the first African American women to own a business in what was then Philadelphia's commercial hub. Ella Fitzgerald, Eartha Kitt, Maria Anderson, Lena Horne all visit the shop and don their hats. A testament not only to their quality and appeal, but to the reputation that Reeves made for herself. She would later reestablish her storefront in West Philadelphia along the 60th Street corridor. There, Mae's Mountain became not only a robust business, but a gathering place for the city's political engagement and community institution. A member in a NAACP, Reeves believed in the power of voice and the vote, turning her shop into a polling station on electing days. Indeed, she set example for African American women seeking economic independence and prosperity at a time when so few had either. It wasn't until a water leak threatened Mae Reeves' shop that the history-making hats would become a part of the museum's history. Reeves' daughter, Donald Limerick, contacted the museum Save Our African American Treasures program. Within days, curators were on site with Reeves' children to examine the shop's treasures contents. What they discovered was not only beautiful hats, but a legacy of entrepreneurship and determination that belonged at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. It's fitting in that the showstoppers that helped Reeves make her way in Philadelphia would be on display at the museum as part of their permanent exposition, The Power of Place, where you can step inside Mae's shop to hear about her extraordinary night impact on, in her own words, and see a section of the museum's collection of more than 60 stunning original Mae creations. Oh, that's dope. Oh, Mae Reeves on her 102nd birthday with her children, great-children, great-grandchildren. That's dope. I don't know when. I forgot that they showed the date. Visible at all, from a cloak to Reeves' signature turbans to her most complex showstoppers, is the spirit of creativity, skill, and love that Reeves brought to her craft. Okay, well, this answers my question in the next sentence. Reeves passed away in 2016 at the age of 104. Every day at the museum, we celebrate Mae Reeves' spirit of creativity, her deep love community, her entrepreneurial ultimate, and the best qualities of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love where she made home. I may keep this in order to copy and paste some of the women in here that were legends. Excuse me, y'all. I'm just going to do the last one. I finally, y'all, just to let y'all know, I did watch the remaining pieces that I hope I'm saying the name correctly, of the Toni Morrison. I think yesterday or the day before. And, it ended, with his statement. It was dope because it seemed like it also showed, like when she got the Nobel Peace Prize and how she found out about it and stuff. And it was just dope, seen on words, and I mean it's bittersweet because she's no longer here on this earth, but it was beautiful. It was a beautiful one. I might also watch the one. There's a biography, video, movie, whatever. That's both PBS that talks about Maya Angelou, and so this is just from biography.com. Like I said, I like getting information from them now. If y'all been with me since I've been doing this since February, okay? I've been doing this about 2 months. Wow, almost. Wow. But when I started doing this temporarily, this is longer than I was originally supposed to do it at. I had one of the articles was 10 unknown black facts, and I wanted to continue to find out more black history. And so one of the articles was like, I don't even need this anymore. And it's it's so much more than just 10 random facts or just a couple articles that you seem like you run into the same facts, because there's so much more. Okay, even if I repeat a couple things, some may have a little more some articles may have more information than other ones. Sorry, y'all, I know I'm ranting, but also I'm not trying to go to sleep or yawn so much. Okay. Now, this is my last one about the legend Toni Morrison. It was born 1931 to 2019. This was updated February 13th, 2020. Originally, the original article was January 19th, 2018. Toni Morrison was a Nobel and Pulitzer Prize winning American novelist. Among her best-known novels are The Bullseye, Song Solomon Beloved and A Mercy. I think I said the wrong word. Did I say Nobel? Yeah, she did win a Nobel Prize. Who was Toni Morrison? Toni Morrison was a Nobel Prize and Pulitzer Prize winning novelist, editor, and professor. Her novels are known for their epic themes, exquisite language, and richly detailed African American characters who are central to their narratives. Among her best known novels are The Bluest Eye, Solo, Song of Solomon, Beloved, Jazz, Love, and A Mercy. Morris has earned a florpa of book world accolades and honorary degrees, also receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2012. Early life and education. Born Cleo Anthony Woodruff on February 18, 1931 in Lorain, Ohio, Toni Morrison was the second oldest of 4 children. Her father, George Worthy, worked primarily as a welder, but had several jobs at once to support the family. Her mother, Rama, was a domestic worker. Morrison later credited her parents with instilling in her a love of reading, music, and folklore among the clarity and perspective. Living in an integrated neighborhood, Morrison did not become fully aware of racial division until she was in her teens. When I was in the first grade, nobody thought I was inferior. I was the only black in the class and only child who could read. She later told a reporter in the New York Times. Dedicated to her studies, Morrison took Latin in school and read many great works of European literature. She graduated from Lorain High School with honors in 1949. At Howard University, Morrison continued to pursue an interest in literature. She majored in English and chose the classics as for her minor. After graduating from Howard in 1953, Morrison continued her education at Cornell University. She wrote her thesis on the works of Virginia Woolf and William Faulkner and completed her master's degree in 1955. She then moved to the Lone Star State to teach at Texas Southern University. Life as a mother and Random House editor. In 1957, Morrison returned to Howard University to teach English. There she met Harold Morrison, an architect originally from Jamaica. The couple married in 1958 and welcomed their first child, Harold, in 1961. After the birth of her son, Morrison joined a writers group that met on campus. She began working on her first novel with the group, which started out as a short story. Morrison decided to leave Howard in 1963. After spending the summer traveling with her family in Europe, she returned to the United States with her son. Her husband, however, had decided to move back to Jamaica. At the time, Morrison was pregnant with their second child. She went back home to live with her family in Ohio before the birth of her son Slade in 1964. The following year, she moved with her sons to Syracuse, New York, where she worked as a textbook publisher as a senior editor. Morris later went to work for Random House, where she edited works by Tony Casbarmer and Gail Jones, renowned for the literature features as well as luminaries like Angela Davis and Muhammad Ali. Toni Morrison books. The Bluest Eye. Morrison's first novel, The Bluest Eye, was published in 1970. She used it as her literary first name, Toni, based on a nickname derived from St. Anthony after she joined the Catholic Church. The book follows a young African-American girl, Piccola Brilla, who believes her incredibly difficult life would be better if only she had blue eyes. The controversial book did not sell well, with Morrison stating in a 1994 afterward that the reception to the work was parallel to how her main character was treated by the world, dismissed, trivialized, misread. Sula. Morrison nevertheless continued to explore the African-American experience in its many forms and eras in her work. Her next novel, Sula, 1973, explores the good and evil through the friendship of 2 women who grew up together in Ohio. Sula was nominated for American Book Award. I had to read that in college. I haven't honestly read Bluest Eye, but I did read Sula. Okay, that's me, myself. That's not part of the article. Soul Solomon. 1977, became the first work by an African-American author to be featured section in the Book of Month Club since Native Son by Richard Wright. The lyrical story follows the journey of Mick Mill Dead, a Midwestern urban who attempts to make sense of family roots and the often harsh reality of his world. Morrison received a number of accolades for the novel, which would go on to win the National Book Critics Circle Award and became a perennial favorite among academics and general readers. Publisher for Beloved. A rising literary star, Morrison was appointed to the National Council of the Arts in 1980. This year. The following year, Tar Baby was published. The character, being based on Arjuna's inspiration for folk tales, received a decisively mixed reaction from critics. Her next work, however, proved to be one of her greatest masterpieces. Beloved, 1987, explores love and the supernatural. Inspired by world figure Margaret Garner, the main character said that a former slave is hunted by her decision to kill her children rather than see them become enslaved. 3 of her children survive, but her infant daughter died at her hand. Yet Seth's daughter returns as a living entity who becomes an unwilling presence in her home. For this spellbinding work, Morrison won several literary awards, including the 1988 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction. 10 years later, the book was turned into movie star Oprah Winfrey, Fannie Newton, and Danny Glover. Okay, look at I'm not trying to rude a thing, but personally, that's up to y'all. If y'all want to watch that movie, it's all right. Morrison wins a Nobel Prize in 1993. Morrison became a professor at Princeton University in 1989 and continued to produce great works, including Playing in the Dark, Witnesses, and The Literary Imagination in 1992. In recognition of contributions to her field, she received the 1993 Nobel Prize in Literature, making her the first African American woman to be selected for the award. The following year, she published a novel Jasper Sporge, Marital Love and Betrayal in 20th Century Harlem. At Princeton, Morrison established a special workshop for writers and performers known as the Princess Atelier in 1994. The program was designed to help students create original works in a variety of artistic fields. More books by Morrison. Paradise. Outside her academic work, Morrison continued to write new works of fiction. Her next novel, Paradise, 1998, which focused on a fictional African-American town called Ruby, earned mixed reviews. Children's books. In 1999, Morrison branched out to children's literature. She worked with her artist son, Slade, on the Big Box, 1999, the Book of Mean People, 2002, The Ant or the Grasshopper, 2003, and the Little Cloud and Lady Wind in 2010. She also has explored other genres, writing the play Dreamin' Emmett in the mid-80s, and lyrics for songs with composer Andre Perman in 1994, and Sweet Talk with the composer Richard Daniel Poor in 1997. And in 2000, The Beautiful Eye, which initially had modest sales, became a literary blockbuster upon being chosen as the Oprah Book Club pick, going to sell hundreds of thousands of copies. Love. Her next novel, Love, 2003, divides the narrative between the past and present. Bill Cosley, a wealthy entrepreneur and owner of the Cosley Hotel Resort, is the center figure in the work. The flashback explores his community life and flawed relationship with women, with his death casting a low shadow on the present. A critic for publisher recently praised the book, stating that Morrison has crafted a gorgeous, stately novel whose mysteries are gradually unearthed. Writing a libretto. In 2006, Morrison announced she was retiring from her post at Princeton. That year, the New York Times book review named Beloved the best novel of the past 25 years. She continued to explore new art forms, writing the riddle for Margaret Garner, an American opera that explores the tragedy of slavery through the true life story of one woman's experiences. The works debuted at the New York City Opera 2007. Morrison traveled back to the early days of colonialism in America for A Mercy in 2008, a book that some had construed as a page-turner in its unfolding. Once again, a woman who is both a slave and a mother must make a decision regarding her child, becomes part of expanding homestead. As a critic from the Washington Post described, this novel is a fusion of mystery, history, and longing. with the New York Times singling out one of the 10 best books of the year. Morrison's nonfiction book. In addition to her many novels, Morrison's crafted nonfiction as well. She's published a collection of her essays, reviews, speeches, What Moves at Margin in 2008. A champion for the arts, Morrison spoke out about censorship in October 2009 after one of her books was banned in Michigan high school. She served as the editor for Burn This Book, a collection of essays on censorship and the power of the written word, which was published that same year. She told a crowd gathered for the launch of the Free Speech Leadership Council about the importance of fighting censorship. The thought that leads me to contemplate with dread of ensure of other voices of written novels, poems, whispered or swallow of fear for being overheard by the wrong people, outlawed languages flurrying underground, and say this question challenging authority never to be posted, unstaged plays, canceled films that thought is a nightmare, as though a whole universe is being described in invisible ink, Morrison said. In 2017, the author released The Origin of Others, an exploration of race, fear, mass migration, and borders based on her Northern lectures at Harvard. Morrison's late career books. Home. Morrison continued to be one of the literature's greatest storytellers through her 80s. She published the novel Home in 2012, exploring a period of American history once again, this time the post-Korea War era. I was trying to take the scab off the 50s, the general idea of it as very comfortable, happy, narcissistic, madman. Oh, please, she said to The Guardian, reference to choosing the setting. There was a horrible war you didn't call a war, where 58,000 people died. There was McCarthy. Her main character, Frank, is a veteran who suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, or, other words, PTSD, a condition that adversely affects his relationships' ability to function in the world. While writing the novel, Morrison experienced a great personal loss. Her son died of pancreatic cancer in 2010. Oh my God. That was so sad, because I'm just letting y'all know spoilers, but I do get the chance and feel like watching the movie. She never mentioned, or maybe it wasn't meant for bad, but she did talk about some of her, her background, her bigger, about her life. But I didn't know one of her babies, I don't mean to talk because he was a grown man, but one of her kids had passed away. Around that time that Home was published, Morrison also debuted another work. She worked with director Peter Sellers and songwriter Rick Torre on a new production inspired by William Shakespeare Othello. The trio focused on the relationship between Othello's wife Desdemona and her African nurse Barbary in Desdemona, which premiered in London in the summer 2012. That same year, Morris received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Barack Obama. God Help the Child. In 2015, Musuems published God Help the Child, a later novel focusing on the experience of the character Bride, a young, dark-skinned black woman who works in the cosmetic industry while reckoning with the rejections of her past. That same year, BBC aired the documentary Toni Morrison Remembers. In autumn 2016, she received a pin Saul Below Award for achieving an American fiction. Death. Morrison died on August the 5th, 2019 at Waterford Medical Center in New York. God rest her soul. Like I said, essay this, okay. Publisher any new works. So random, but I think my grandfather I never got a chance to know from mom's side, maternal grandma, my mom's dad. I think he died either August the 5th or August the 6th. Of course, I say he died way before I got here. But like I said, so it has almost been. It's not a year yet, but whew. But anyways, y'all, I'm out of here. I'm about to take my butt to bed. And go ahead and get off of here. I hope y'all have a great day. Did y'all see? I seen a picture. I know it was supposed to be a pink moon. I don't know if it's supposed to be significance or anything. But other than that, I'm going to get off of here. And I will see y'all tomorrow. And hugs and loves and God bless everybody. And see y'all in the next one. Positive vibes. Positive manifestations. We will get through this, y'all. And take care. And see y'all. And stay safe and wash your hands too. Okay? Alright. Take care. And like stay inside if you can't, you know what I mean. And if y'all can if y'all can't make if you can't like buy masks, make your own going out. Okay, let me stop. Okay. Anyway, take care, and I'll see y'all in the next one.